You see, there is a peculiar kind of courage in solitude, a courage that the crowd does not understand. He walks alone, always. The spiritual man, the one who seeks the deeper truth of existence, does not walk where everyone else walks. He walks a path unseen, a path quiet and unassuming. And yet, there is nothing lonely in his steps, because he walks in harmony with the universe itself. Think of it. How often do we mistake the absence of company for the absence of life? We look around, and the world seems full of people. They chatter, they push, they compete, they conform, and in the midst of this we may feel lost or perhaps left behind. But listen closely. The spiritual man does not fear being left behind. He understands that to walk alone is not to be abandoned, but to be aligned. The path of solitude is not chosen lightly. It is chosen when one realizes that the world of appearances, the endless carousel of approval, recognition, and distraction, is but a veil. And behind that veil, there is a stillness, a clarity, a truth that whispers, "You are more than what they see. You are more than the roles you play, the masks you wear." Walking alone allows the mind to breathe, allows the heart to open. Alone, he does not shrink from the emptiness. He leans into it. And in that leaning, he discovers a profound companionship, the companionship of life itself. You see, the trees do not demand your attention. The wind does not compete for your notice. The river flows regardless of who watches or ignores. In this quiet observation, in this communion with what is, the spiritual man finds a truth that the world cannot offer, the truth of being fully present. And yet, do not mistake his solitude for isolation. Solitude is not a punishment, it is not a retreat, it is an embrace. It is a choice to know oneself beyond the noise, beyond the expectations, beyond the endless judgments. In this embrace, he begins to see that life, in its infinite complexity, does not need to be mastered or controlled. It needs to be witnessed. It needs to be danced with, laughed with, and sometimes simply let go. Most people never walk alone because they fear what they might find. They fear the silence. They fear the absence of validation. They fear that if they stop chasing, if they stop performing, if they stop pretending, there will be nothing left. But I assure you, there is everything left. The universe has a way of filling the void with the very life you were seeking in the crowd. The trees, the wind, the river, they are not substitutes. They are reminders that the presence of life is always here, always available, if only you dare to walk alone. And walking alone requires courage. It requires that subtle rebellion against the ingrained notion that one must always fit in, that one must always belong. There is no shame in belonging, of course, but belonging should not be confused with surrender. Many people surrender to belonging because it is easier. It is easier to be invisible in a crowd than visible in solitude. It is easier to follow a pattern than to create a path. And yet, the spiritual man knows life does not unfold in patterns. It unfolds in moments. Moments of clarity, moments of discomfort, moments of profound awakening. Consider this. The world has taught you to fear solitude, yet the very essence of being is solitude. You are born alone. You will leave alone. And between these two solitary points, there is a journey that is uniquely yours. To walk this journey consciously, to walk it fully awake, is to walk alone. But in walking alone, you are never lost. You are never truly separate. For the universe is not something you enter. It is something you already are. Walking alone allows you to see the world as it truly is, not as you wish it to be, not as it appears in the comforting illusions of the herd, but as a vast, interwoven tapestry of impermanence and wonder. You begin to notice the impermanence of all things. A smile, a laugh, a breath, a tear, they come and they go. And yet, in this constant coming and going, there is a rhythm, a music, a dance that speaks directly to the soul. To witness this dance alone is not loneliness, it is liberation. And liberation, my friends, is not an achievement. It is not a trophy you can hold, a title you can earn. It is a recognition that life, in all its chaos and beauty, has always been complete, always been perfect, always been whole. The spiritual man walks alone because he sees this perfection. He does not need the applause of others to affirm it. He does not need companions to validate it. He does not even need his own approval. He simply sees, and in seeing, he walks, free from the illusions that bind so many. To walk alone is also to encounter fear, the fear of emptiness, the fear of rejection, the fear of insignificance. But here lies the paradox. In facing these fears, in standing before them without flinching, one discovers that fear is not an enemy. Fear is a mirror. It reflects the depth of your courage, the breadth of your capacity to love, and the expansiveness of your being. And as you continue, step by step, along the path of solitude, you realize that the world does not abandon you. You abandon the illusions that kept you small. And in this abandonment, you are reborn. The world will still rush past, with its noise, its judgment, its endless chatter. People will still seek approval, validation, recognition. And some will look at you and say, "Why do you walk alone? Why do you not join us?" And you may smile quietly because you understand something they do not. The path of solitude is not lonely. It is intimate. It is a conversation with the essence of existence itself. It is the path where one learns to laugh, to cry, to see, and to be. Remember, every spiritual man always walks alone, not because he is superior, not because he is distant, not because he despises the world, but because he recognizes the necessity of the journey. The journey cannot be shared in the same way, cannot be communicated in words alone. It must be lived. And living it fully, consciously, awake, is the greatest gift you can give yourself, and, by extension, the world. So, if you are afraid to walk alone, understand this. It is in walking alone that you will meet yourself. The self you have been hiding from, the self you have been seeking in others, the self that is always present beneath the noise, it is here. And in meeting this self, you discover something extraordinary, that the world, with all its chaos and beauty, is not separate from you. That you, in your solitude, are the world, and the world is you. To walk alone is to touch eternity, in each breath, in each moment, in each step. And the paradox, the irony, is that by walking alone, you are never truly alone. For in the vastness of the universe, in the music of the wind, the dance of the leaves, the song of the river, you are accompanied by life itself. And in this accompaniment, you discover the ultimate truth, that the journey is not about finding something outside of yourself. It is about uncovering the infinite presence that has always been within. And so, the path continues. Each step he takes in solitude is a step into the depth of life itself. It is a journey not measured by miles, nor by achievements, nor by applause. It is measured by the clarity of perception, by the courage to be present, by the willingness to face the raw, unfiltered truth. You see, most of us are taught to avoid the raw truth. We are trained to soften it, to disguise it, to package it in comforts, distractions, and stories that soothe the ego. But the spiritual man knows that truth cannot be mediated by comfort. Truth is not a cushion. It is the mountain, the wind, the storm. And when he walks alone, he walks into that storm, unshielded, unafraid, fully awake. It is here, in the starkness of solitude, that the illusions fall away. The need to impress, to be admired, to fit in, all of it dissolves. And what remains is simple and yet profound, a direct encounter with existence, with the rising sun, with the fading day, with the rhythm of your own heartbeat. And in this simplicity, there is liberation. Liberation, however, is not a goal to be reached in the future. It is not something you will achieve when the conditions are perfect. It is here, in this very moment, if only you will allow yourself to walk alone, to be alone, to witness, without clinging, without fleeing, without resisting. You may ask, "But Alan, is it not lonely?" Ah, yes, people often fear that loneliness, but there is a subtle difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is imposed from without. It is the absence of connection that you fear. Solitude is chosen from within. It is the full presence of connection with what truly matters. When you walk alone, you begin to understand that the universe does not abandon you. It is not silent. It is listening. It is not empty. It is abundant. And in that abundance, in that listening, You discover a freedom that cannot be taken, borrowed, or stolen. Every spiritual man walks alone because the journey cannot be outsourced. No one else can do the inner work for you. You may follow teachers, read books, or listen to wisdom, but ultimately the path is yours. And to embrace it fully, you must sometimes step away from the crowd, from the familiar voices, from the expectations of others. You must walk into the unknown. And what is the unknown, if not the very essence of life itself? To walk alone is to meet the unknown, not as a threat, but as a friend. It is to greet uncertainty with curiosity, to invite impermanence to dance, to allow the unexpected to be your teacher. There is a beauty here that cannot be described, only experienced. Consider the river. It flows alone, yet it nourishes countless lives along the way. It carves valleys, creates lakes, and sings songs to the stones. The river does not ask for approval. It does not seek validation. It simply flows, fully itself. The spiritual man is like the river. He walks alone, but he leaves traces of presence, of clarity, of understanding. He does not force connection. He simply embodies the flow of life, and those who are ready will recognize it. And in this recognition, there is a subtle magic. For walking alone does not mean you are unnoticed. It means you are not distracted. You are not scattered. Your energy is concentrated. Your awareness is sharpened. And in this concentration, the depth of life reveals itself. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The mundane becomes sacred. And you begin to see that solitude is not a withdrawal. It is an awakening. The spiritual man also understands impermanence. He knows that all things come and go. Friends, lovers, circumstances, joys, sorrows, they arrive and they depart. And yet, this understanding does not bring detachment in the sense of coldness. It brings presence. It brings appreciation. It brings a laughter that resonates with the rhythm of the cosmos. For when you walk alone, you are not clinging, you are flowing. You are open, you are alive. There is also the fear of judgment. People will watch you, and they will whisper, "Why does he not conform? Why does he not join us? Why does he not seek recognition?" And perhaps they are afraid, not of you, but of the courage it takes to walk alone. Most people prefer the comfort of conformity, for it hides the trembling of the soul. But the spiritual man has embraced that trembling. He has leaned into it. He has realized that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of fear, fully acknowledged, fully embraced, fully lived. And so he walks. Through cities and fields, through storms and sunlight, through the laughter and the tears of life, he walks with no map, because he has realized that the map is within. Every moment is a guide, every breath a compass, every sensation a teacher. And walking alone, he learns the profound art of attention, the art of noticing without judgment, of seeing without interference, of being without striving. Notice this. The path of solitude is not linear. It has curves, it has valleys, it has peaks. There will be days when you feel burdened by the silence, days when the world seems distant or cruel or incomprehensible. But these are the days that shape you. These are the days that teach patience, resilience, and the subtle power of surrender. For to surrender is not to give up. It is to allow life to teach you in its own language, at its own pace. And there is a paradox here, a subtle irony. In walking alone, you become more connected, not to people as they appear in their masks and roles, but to the truth behind the masks, to the essence that underlies all existence. You begin to see that life is a symphony, and each solitary step is a note, each breath a chord, each moment a resonance. And in that symphony, you are both the musician and the listener, both the creator and the audience, both the dancer and the dance. Walking alone also sharpens discernment. You begin to notice who walks with you in authenticity and who walks with you in convenience. You begin to notice the subtle influences of fear, desire, and attachment. And as these observations deepen, you learn to navigate life with clarity. You do not chase illusions. You do not cling to shadows. You move with the rhythm of reality itself. And in this rhythm, there is joy. Not the fleeting joy of possessions or recognition, but the deep, enduring joy of being fully present. It is the joy of witnessing a sunset without a camera, the joy of listening to the wind without a playlist, the joy of feeling your heartbeat without distraction. It is the joy of life as it is imperfect, transient, miraculous. The spiritual man walks alone because he understands that life cannot be mediated. No teacher, no institution, no friend can walk it for you. You must walk it yourself. And in this walking, you discover that solitude is not empty. It is overflowing. It is rich with insight, with compassion, with love that does not seek to possess, with understanding that does not seek to judge. He walks alone, yes. But in walking alone, he discovers the infinite company of life itself. He learns that the world is not something to be conquered, not something to be controlled, not something to be feared. It is something to be known, to be danced with, to be embraced. And this knowing comes not through others, but through the stillness of one's own presence. So, if you fear solitude, remember, it is in the moments of walking alone that you find your own strength, your own clarity, your own voice. It is here that the illusions fall away, the masks dissolve, and the essence of life greets you with open arms. And as you walk, step by step, breath by breath, you will begin to notice something remarkable, that the world, in all its vastness, is not a place of isolation, it is a place of infinite presence. And when you reach this understanding, you will see the beauty of the path of solitude. You will see that it is not a path of deprivation, but a path of discovery. You will see that walking alone is not a punishment, but a privilege. It is the privilege of knowing life in its raw, unfiltered, miraculous truth. Miraculous truth.